What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Beyond Ordinary Podcast, where we connect with great people doing great things to inspire you to do the same. Got another banger episode today here with Linda Fanaras. We're going to be talking AI, content, podcasting, all that good stuff today. But first and foremost, how are you doing today, Linda?
I'm doing great. Thanks. Thanks for having me here. Excited to be here today.
Of course, of course. Thank you for coming on the show. So
Awesome.
my first question to you is, do you mind introducing yourself to the people and let them know who you are and what you do?
No problem. So, my name is Linda Fanaras. I am the CEO of Millennium Agency. We are a B2B brand web development and PR strategy firm. We do a lot of work in the national space, meaning we work primarily with tech companies, logistics companies, manufacturing companies, anybody that sells business products or services to other businesses. So, we've
Gotcha.
been in business for
Gotcha.
about 20 plus years.
hmm And then who's your ideal target audience for that?
Yep. So we work primarily with CEOs of companies. We work with VP marketing, CMOs, anybody that leads up the marketing strategy and any oversees any of the marketing functions of the company. And we do work with a multitude of other types of industries too, not just the ones I mentioned earlier, but we also work with healthcare, pharma, biotech, architectural firms. We like to hone in on those companies that actually sell to other businesses because we have a real good niche as far as helping businesses generate leads for their own business. So,
Okay. And so say like, I don't know, some pharmaceutical company comes to you and says, "Hey, we're looking to sell this to, I don't know, CVS or something, I don't know." And like what would that actual service delivery and relationship look like?
yeah, if we're going to launch, let's say we're launching a pharmaceutical product into the market as an example, what we would need to do is build out the brand, have to have a name, a unique name. So a lot of people have heard of like Ozempic, which is like the whole new hot, weight loss drug that's out there. So it's coming up with the name, coming up with the packaging, making sure everything is compliant with legal and any other sources that need to be checked into, and then also coming up with how you're going to message this and position this in the market in an effective way without making any like serious claims. So certain industries are much more strict than others, but it's actually taking the client through determining like why is this product or service unique and how can we position and message it in the market so you can differentiate yourself. So we'll work with clients from that perspective, figuring out what they're trying to sell, how can we differentiate it, and then how can we bring it to market in a way that will drive new opportunities, new sales, new leads, and anything else that may encompass new business.
Okay. Cool. So it sounds like you really help with the product development from pretty much the ground up, like the building on the product, naming it, marketing it, all that stuff.
Yeah, a lot on the naming side, a lot on the messaging side, like the packaging side is something that we could also do in addition to, like I said, how is it going to get pushed into the market? What kind of collateral materials are necessary to support the physician offices or the doctors or the healthcare system that's out there. But as far as like the actual product, the product development, that would be done by the research departments within the pharmaceutical company.
Got you for sure. And then when looking at all the business models that you could have started, what made you want to start a digital marketing agency?
Yeah, that's a great idea. So I came from the high tech space, and in that space, I handled the marketing department primarily. And underneath me, I had content writers, I had some creative staff, graphic designers, I had people that actually would handle the mailing list development, making sure that the mailing lists were all up to date, tagged, and categorized properly. And research. So I handled the multitude of different sort of sub marketing functions within the marketing department. So there was a point in time that I just decided, hey, I think I want to go out on my own and give this a shot and see if I can create my own ad agency or marketing firm and take those services and offer them to other businesses. And that's how I started. So it just started out, relatively small, and then we just grew from there. We grew, we're pretty, even though we've always been national, I used to primarily work in the high tech space when I first launched out, and then it grew to being more B2B industry with a multitude of other types of businesses that sell to other businesses.
Okay, cool. And then I know you founded Millennium Agency back in 98, right?
Yep.
And that was pretty much before social media was a thing. So how have you seen a shift in digital marketing strategies?
Yeah, so a lot of things have shifted since then, and it keeps changing, frankly. It's something as
Yeah,
marketers, I think we have to keep on top of all that because I mean, now we're dealing with AI, right? So it's like, okay, what's next? And there's always
exactly.
something new that's next. So in this case, it's like, all right, with social media, when the election came with Obama being a nominee for president, that was when a lot of the social media components started to come out in a bigger way to kind of hit on that younger demographic and try to engage them. And the strategy
Hmm.
worked great because he was able to really, you know, get his message across to a certain demographic. And then since then, it's really exploded. We have Facebook, we have Twitter, now those Snapchat, now TikTok. So the list keeps going on. But back then, as you said, didn't even exist. Like it didn't even exist. And those are the types of
Hmm.
things that we keep seeing. You'll see these major shifts in the market. You'll see social media, and then you'll see like digital ads through the Google ad network. So everybody's doing digital ads. Now you're seeing a lot of companies using AI. And as a marketer, as an agency, Miles, it's so important for us to stay on top of all that and make sure we fully understand it so we can consult to our clients and give them the best guidance so they can so we can help them grow their business effectively. And that's our goal.
Hmm. And so when you saw like this shift of, from let's say like paid ads, I mean, people still use paid ads, but it's not as prevalent as organic is now, organic content marketing. How did your company pivot to keep up with all these platforms that keep popping up like TikTok, Facebook, Instagram over the
Yeah.
decades?
It is challenging. It's super challenging, and sometimes we have to shift and pivot. I mean, certain things we don't do everything in house because we do want to specialize as a core team in like the branding and the web development and the PR component. So some of those other components we do partner with other companies because they specialize in it. So if we want to bring it to our client, we're bringing to them a holistic solution that will really work and drive leads for them. But it's a constant battle. It's like, okay, what's next? AI's
Hmm.
going on now, so what's after that? I don't know. We're gonna find out.
Okay. And you said certain parts you outsource. So what's like a determining factor of something that you would rather keep in house as opposed to just outsourcing?
Yeah, I mean, it does vary. I mean, we have the ability to do everything in house, but we have to decide, like, can an outside source be much better at it than us, because that outside
Mm,
source has made the investment in, let's say they're a SEO firm as an example, and that's all they do. They're an SEO firm that just does SEO. And do we just do SEO? No. So in that case, we may say, all right, in that type of service sector, we have decided to just outsource or work with a partner for some of these other functions because frankly it doesn't make sense for us to do that. I mean, we
hmm.
could do everything, but we probably wouldn't be good at everything. How's that? Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We'd love to. We don't want to give up the work, but on the other hand, it's like, okay, we want to make sure that we're good at it.
So, in terms of your core services that like you have in-house team, like what services are those?
So we do a lot of brand strategy, meaning like design, the look and feel of how a business entity will look and feel, their logo, and how they get messaged in the market. So what do they sound like? What is their unique selling proposition? What differentiates them in the market from others so they don't sound exactly the same? Because you're always looking for that opportunity where there's sort of white space in the market where somebody hasn't hit that space, and you want to go find that and be able to align that with your client that maybe is out there sounding just like their competitor. And that's something you want to avoid, is not sound like your competitor.
Yeah, got definitely have to find your own voice out here. I know it's tough, but
Yeah,
nobody. You don't want to be a copycat. You want to have your own lane and
exactly.
be, a one of one.
Exactly. Absolutely. And that's the key, is to make sure that, okay, how can we make sure that we can differentiate our clients in a way so they don't sound like their competitors. Because that's what a lot of companies will do. They'll be like, oh, my competitor did XYZ. Maybe we should look into that. That's like the worst thing you want to do, because you don't want to sound just like them. You want to be able to find a niche in the market that they haven't hit on and build out your business that way.
Exactly. You want to like stand out because you don't want it to be like if people have two choices and they look the exact same, like when they
Exactly.
come back to buy, how are they gonna know that
Exactly.
to buy from you again if you look exactly
Right.
like everybody else? So yeah,
Absolutely. And that's the
I
key.
like that.
So we'll work with them on messaging. What we do is we build out what we call value propositions. So, as an example, like there may be pain points that clients might face, like typical clients might face, and we might address those in their value propositions and start to build around that. So a lot of companies have things that just differentiate themselves. It could be their personality, it could be their service, it could be the way they go about something. It might be some proprietary services or processes that they use in place that maybe others don't use. So there's a multitude of different opportunities there.
So on your website, I see that you have content services such as commercials, corporate videos, etc. And your slogan is "Video production builds trust," which I 100% agree. But we could talk about that a little later about how effective video marketing is. But my question to you is, what is a common mistake that you're seeing companies make in their video content?
Yeah, I mean, video content there's so many different types of videos that can be done. There can be a brand essence video, it can be a testimonial video, it can be sort of a training video. So when they build out the videos, I think it's really important for companies to think about, like, if they're going to have somebody and pay somebody to come in and do video, you want to create as many purposes for that video as you can. So if you're creating a video on,
Right.
this is our company and these are the services, and sort of this is an overarching video on that, maybe you take some of the clips from that and you build out, let's say they offer 3 services and you cover them all in the first video. You might be able to split that out into 3 other videos and say, okay, this is service number 1, and then do a smaller micro video around that, because you've done all the recording on the front end. So when you do your video, I think the biggest mistake companies make is they don't sort of think through the purposes that they could use it for, because if you're having somebody come in for a day or two, you want them to shoot as much as you can and kind of craft out what you think you might want to cover for that. And then even if they don't do those smaller videos right away, at least you have the content available for you so you can put that together when you're ready. And I think that that's the
Mm-hmm.
key piece, is really thinking through, like, how are you going to use it? How do you want it messaged? And then how is it going to be brought to market? And then in addition to that, do we need to do them all now, or should we do some of them later?
Yeah, that's something that you said is major key, is about just getting the most out of your content. You don't want to just go in, record one piece of content when you have like an hour or 2 hour session. You want to record as much content as possible in one sitting. Like literally for my fraternity, I'm trying to push for them to do more video content. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
telling them that what you should do is pick a day where you sit
Mm-hmm.
down, like figure out what's trending, because it's like all like there's certain trends like in the fraternity space and stuff, like videos that like do well. So
Right.
obviously go with the trend, not against it. If there's a certain trend, just take one day to do the ideation and then take another day to actually film it. Like you could bring multiple fits so it doesn't look like
Mm-hmm.
you guys recorded the same content. Like I've done that plenty of times, and then you sit there and you batch record, and then you take the next 3 or 4 days to edit it all. So now you
Exactly.
have a month's worth of content, but it only took you a week to like essentially put it all together. Because if you try
Exactly.
to do all of that at once, like okay, I'm gonna record this one piece of content today, then or I'm gonna research one piece of content, then the next day I'm gonna record the content, and then the next day I'm gonna edit it, and then that's one piece of content, and then you post it, and then you have to do that week after week after week. I mean, you're
Right.
gonna burn out just having to start over again. So it's easier to just sit down and do it all at once.
Exactly, exactly. And I don't think companies think about that. Like they may think about the fact that they need like a training video and then that's it. So they may spend whatever, it could be anything, 10,000, 15, 20,000 for a training video. But if you're like, hey, I can do a
Right.
training video, but maybe we should do a short CEO video or something like that. Maybe just sitting in a chair talking. So there are other opportunities. You just want to be able to think those things out and make sure that you can take advantage of them. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
no, I agree. Totally agree.
And so, do you think that AI will displace content creators?
I don't. I mean, I think AI is a very powerful tool. I think,
For sure.
we really don't know the long term impact, um, but it does some pretty amazing things. But from a marketing perspective, I think it can create a lot of efficiencies, and I don't think it is will replace people unless there are some strategies in there to check work and all that. You still have to have that human component in order to make sure things are
Mm,
relevant. And I mean, so some of the bigger things in AI is that you do have to train it. You have to train it so it
yeah.
understands who you are, your value props, your brand, how you may speak, and all of those components that go with that. And once that's done, it can be an extraordinarily helpful tool. But at the end of the day, it still does require a human. A human to really check the work, a human to verify its accuracy. It does make mistakes just like a human. So you want to make sure that those things are checked so when you are putting out information or data, you're not putting out the same information that somebody else might be putting out. You're putting out something unique
Mm,
and relevant to who you are as a company and as a brand.
mm. Yeah, and I agree too. I think that people need to understand that AI is just a tool. You know what I mean? It's like
Mm-hmm.
Excel. It's just like Excel.
Mm-hmm.
Like Excel, it's not like Excel displaced people. You know what I mean? It's just
Exactly.
people who learned how to use Excel just became a lot more valuable in the market. And it's the same with AI. It's going to be the same with AI. Whoever is going to be able to embrace AI and come through and be like, hey, I know how to use this AI tool the most efficient way possible. So now that person
Right.
is going to get the job. You know?
Yep.
Like
Yep.
it's like I
Mm-hmm.
think people think that AI is just like you just click one button and you could just replace somebody. It's like no, you
Yeah,
you do have
exactly.
to train AI, you know?
Yeah, totally. And marketers are still, some are very, very nervous about it because they do feel like, I mean, we had a little bit of an adoption challenge internally because of that reason, but that's not really the intent. It's not going to replace a person. The whole
Hmm.
idea with AI is to help, um, to help. I look at it as more like foundational work. It helps to build the foundation to whatever you're going to do, and it just gets you to that point where you have something to work with, and then from there you can actually make it into something valuable. And that's the goal, because I think it's very, I don't think it makes sense to really consider it a replacement tool, because it's not.
Yeah,
But
absolutely. And
I do
then
know a lot of
even people,
marketers do get nervous about that.
yeah, I mean, I understand because it's like it's really the fear of the unknown because you don't know what's gonna happen. You don't know how many new AI tools are gonna come out, and so and a lot of people like once they get comfortable like doing what they want to do, they don't want to change. Like
Right.
if you've been doing something for years or decades on end and it's been working, and then all of a sudden you hear this AI tool comes out, like it's kind of like scary to try to
Hmm.
pivot and do that because you don't know what the results are gonna be, but evidently like
Exactly.
in business like you have to do that. Like if you like
Right.
you're going to go out of business if you think you're just going to continue to do the same thing over and over and continue to grow. That's not how that works.
Exactly. No, you have to stay on, especially as a marketer. It's so important to just stay on top of what's going out in the space, because I mean, I've been doing this for so long. Is like there was even a point in time where graphic designers would be working with like waxing machines and putting them on boards. Then they would go to printers, and then that transitioned into the digital space, and then that keeps growing as an industry, and as that keeps changing. So it's like keeping on top of those trends. It's really what's going to make the difference between people who stay in business and who people who don't stay in business.
Hmm.
And staying abreast of that stuff is absolutely key. Absolutely
Hmm.
key.
So if somebody wanted to stay up to speed with technology innovations, where should they start?
To stay on top of it, or to say that again.
Hmm. To stay on top of these changes in the market, how should they go about that?
I mean, there's always training available. I'm always big into getting information on what's new, like what's coming up, what's around the corner, staying on top of the trends that are out there. Because even though AI is kind of here now. We've been hearing about it for a while. So like as a marketer, you need to make sure you're hearing about it so you can continue to hear about it and get some of the latest. I mean, we've spoken to a lot of people on my podcast about AI, which has been some incredible ways to use it. And then they just keep up coming up with more and more different ways and strategies to use it in business and in other ways. So I think the key is just to educate yourself. There's plenty of videos, there's plenty of online courses, there's even courses at universities and other certifications available to stay on top of all that. But I do think it's key in order to make sure you maintain that level of expertise you need for growth.
You mentioned on your podcast, you guys talk about AI. You've heard some great things about AI. What's something interesting that you've heard about that you're kind of excited to either use yourself or see come to fruition?
I mean, like for example, I think some of the exciting things, I mean, in fact, we're working on an app that is specifically for marketers that utilize AI as a sort of as part of this entire tool. So for example, it can help write a blog, it can help craft your social media, it can help do your email marketing, and it can help build a video. So it's doing all the components that a marketer would want to do in one particular app. So I think with something like that, that's exciting because it's different, it's unique, it's encompassing, and it's going to make the marketer's job easy, but it's also going to give them access to AI. So there's plenty of opportunities out there like that. It's just staying on top of it and making sure, okay, this is where we're going, right? So with that said, then how can we make sure we stay on top of it, to your point?
Absolutely, yeah, an all-in-one app, that would be crazy.
Hmm.
Shake up the
Yeah,
market with that one.
exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Oh, it's going to be awesome.
And so you have mentioned your podcast. You mind telling the people the name of your podcast and what you
Sure.
guys talk
Yeah.
about?
Yep. So I have B2B Brand 180 Podcast, and it's designed for businesses who need to market or get business from other businesses. And I always look at like manufacturers or tech firms are really good ones related to that because like tech firms often sell their products to other tech firms or to other companies or other businesses that need need their platform. So in that type of instance, we cover anything related to marketing, like ideas that are transformative for the marketer, not just, oh, how to write social media or how to write a blog. It's more like, what are some of the changes? We want to bring people on our audience that actually can bring in transformative ideas for the marketer. They can actually transform their marketing. So we focus on things that are just a slightly different, a little bit off the beaten path. And we love to bring on people that really can bring new ideas to the table and then can help other marketers and CEOs and presidents transform their business and grow their business in ways that maybe they never even thought of. So that's what our focus is on the B2B Brand 180 podcast. And it's on Spotify, it's on Apple, we have it on YouTube. So it's also on our website as well. You can hit it through our website as well.
Absolutely, that's cool. It sounds like you're just trying to get a bunch of like-minded people together and just talk about business and help cross promote each other's products. That's cool. That's cool.
Exactly. Exactly.
And so, what was the moment that made you think, "Oh, let me pick up a mic and start a podcast"? Like, what was going on with your life at the time?
Yeah, I think, podcasting is kind of hot these days. And I think for us, we have a story. We want to bring ideas to the table that maybe other people, other businesses, or other podcasters don't typically bring to the table. So we want to really look at that from a unique perspective. And like I said earlier, what can we tell our audience that maybe they haven't thought of yet? And we'll work with them on that and helping our audience get real takeaways that they can use in their business when they're done listening to our podcast. It might be how to build a referral program or how to use AI prompting for your chat, GTP, GPT, and how to, it might be like how to craft your social media so you're actually getting engagement, or what are some strategies around PR? So we look at different things that aren't typical, that your typical marketer would not know. And then we bring those to the table to help them sort of make some transformative changes.
Mm-hmm. And then, where are you trying to take the podcast?
I think our goal really is just to grow it and grow our audience, and there's no like intent. I think it's just being able to educate and kind of give back some knowledge that maybe they didn't think of before. So that is really our goal. As it grows organically, we're happy about that. We want it to obviously grow organically, but I think our real goal
Right.
is to just make sure we continue to share good content so it's valuable, and then
Absolutely.
they can take some tips back and maybe use that for their own business.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the
absolutely.
goal.
Just making sure you put out good content. That's the
Exactly.
key to podcasting.
Exactly.
Because if you don't, like, no one's gonna listen, and your show's not gonna go anywhere. So I
Yeah.
always try to think. Like, I'm actually literally about to take a break after like this show, or probably the next one, to just really take a step back and then be like, all right, let me look and kind of be strategic with my next guests that I bring on. Like what topics do I really want to talk on about and hit on next.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah,
that's what's next for Beyond Ordinary for
exactly.
sure.
And I do. I listen to a lot of podcasts, and some of them are really super long podcasts, but they're phenomenal. I mean,
Hmm.
the insight and the information that they bring to the table is just incredible. They're not all marketing related, but I would say
Right.
it's definitely got some value there. So that's important.
What podcast you listen to?
Oh, I listen to all kinds. I listen to uh, Joe Rogan. I listen to Chris Williamson. I listen to a lot of health and wellness ones. Um,
Yep.
just all kinds of crazy topics. Political ones sometimes. Could vary. Could
Absolutely.
vary.
Yeah, I listen to Chris Williamson too. Him and Stephen Bartlett are some of my favorite
Yeah.
podcasters I listen
Yeah.
to for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're great.
Yeah. No, Chris Williamson is really informative. That's for sure. Got some great guests on
Yeah, and
there.
he has
And
exactly. He brings on really good guests that I'm
totally.
interested in listening to. So I listen to him a decent amount.
Yeah, they know their stuff. They really know their stuff.
So what is the most important or most valuable lesson or piece of information that you learned from a guest on your podcast?
From my guests,
Hmm.
I've had some pretty incredible guests. I'm just trying to think of some that I've had. I mean, I think one of the guests that I've had spoke primarily about AI and how it's currently used and how it's currently put together and how it needs to change. The machine learning needs to change. And it's a little bit more technical and in depth, but it was helpful. It's valuable. So it's always like, and that's the kind of thing
Hmm.
like I may not have thought about. So it's all right. This he's bringing something to the table that I didn't really think about. And I've
Hmm.
learned some great things on the PR side, even like what to wear when you're on a podcast,
Right.
and what to wear if you're giving a speech, or how to talk to the media, or other things like that that maybe your audience wouldn't know. So I feel like our guests bring some unique perspectives, and we do bring different types of guests. Like I just recorded somebody that talked about a referral program, like how to put in a referral program that actually works, and
Mm.
it's just another way to drive new business and build your brand. And that's the type of thing that we like to talk about. Some things a little slightly different.
Yeah. So going back to what you said about the AI machine learning, what were they saying about that? What was wrong? What's wrong with it now, and why does it need to change?
It's just, I think he was just talking about, I can't recall all the details. I could definitely share the link if you want to share it with the audience on what it was, but it was just interesting. It was just a whole nother perspective that he has about how it's being, and frankly, it might not change, right? We don't really know. It's his perspective on that. And, um, there's huge opportunity, and there's issues with obviously security and safety and all of that as well. So it's really kind of making sure that all of those things are in place, so so it does stay safe, right? It does stay, it is valuable for the audience. But I'm happy to, if you want to keep that in the queue, I'm happy to share that with you, and
Cool.
you can share
Yeah,
it with the
most
audience
definitely.
for sure.
All right, Linda. Well, before we
Awesome.
close out of this show, I want to ask you, what do you want people's takeaway from this episode to be?
Yeah, no, I think from a marketing perspective, I think businesses should know if you are a business, even if you're a personal brand, to, try to differentiate yourself in some way, build a brand and identity around yourself, message yourself uniquely, different from the competition, and then just be consistent. And I think that will help elevate your brand and your company and yourself as a brand.
Absolutely. All right, Linda, thank you so much for coming on to the show and being such a great guest. Can you tell the people where they can find you at?
Absolutely. So my name is Linda Fanaras, and I'm on LinkedIn. And you can reach me directly on LinkedIn, or you can hit lindafanaras.com is another area that you can get in touch with me. And yeah, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. That's probably the best way. Or you can hit my website at lindafanaras.com.
For sure. Yep. We're going to leave all that in the show notes. Thank you once again for coming on to this show. Beyond Ordinary Podcast. Hope you guys were inspired to be great. Till next time. Peace.